Why do deaths from falls while working at height continue to increase? From a historical perspective, over the past 20 years, we've seen a dramatic increase in the number of regulations and standards, and the amount of money spent on personal fall protection equipment has gone up nearly 200% over the same time. You also know that overall workplace fatalities have decreased over the past 20 years. But fall protection has been the #1 citation by OSHA for the past 10 years. And when we look at comparative countries like the United Kingdom, the United States has 3 to 6 times the number of fatalities after you correct for population and size of economy. This equates to 300 to 600 workers every year that should make it home to their families and don't. So, why do falls continue to happen? And more importantly, what can you do to prevent them? In 2 words, the use of personal fall protection equipment isn't intuitive. Whether you look at the origins of the industry, from the utility pole climbers, the window cleaners, and high scalers who built magnificent structures like the Hoover Dam, or you look at the infrequent nature we use personal fall protection equipment in our personal life, you conclude it just isn't intuitive. Sure, other personal protective equipment we use, such as safety glasses and hard hats, are easy to use, but personal fall protection equipment is much different and simply isn't intuitive. So, if this is right, what should you do to better protect your workers if you must work at height? Here are 5 tips you can use. First, use personal fall protection equipment, including your harness, less. Now, I don't mean allowing your workers to be unprotected at height, but you can use more guardrail and other protected surfaces, scaffolds, and lifts, even though you often have to use personal fall protection equipment while using lifts. We all know from the hierarchy of fall hazard controls, you are safer when using engineering controls versus using personal fall protection equipment. Second, when you must use personal fall protection equipment, make sure your workers have enough general and system-specific training. In some cases, the training will be several hours to several days, and in some cases, a week-long course. And it includes a lot of hands-on activity, skills evaluation, and reading and understanding the user instructions for the equipment you will use. One critical hands-on activity is the fitting of a full-body harness. This is critical because the harness is the most personal piece of personal fall protection equipment, since you are wearing it on your body. Also, many organizations, while using a variety of precautions, encourage workers simulate being suspended in the full-body harness prior to using it in the workplace. Third, you need to focus on certified fall protection equipment and certified systems. In too many cases, employers directly or indirectly encourage workers to improvise the use of their personal fall protection equipment. From the selection of the equipment and anchorage to making sure there is enough fall clearance and a rescue plan, improvised systems often lack many things, including proper supervision. Fourth, you need to make sure you identify your fall hazards in a proactive way. Whether this is during pre-construction planning, site walkthroughs, or a survey of employees, the sooner and more completely you identify your hazards, the more proactive you will be, and the less you'll have to rely on improvising the use of your personal fall protection equipment. Last but not least, our 5th tip is to incorporate prevention through design into your organization's processes. Like identifying hazards in our 4th tip, this is a proactive approach to designing and constructing our bridges, buildings, manufacturing lines, and other capital projects in a safer way. Now that you have these 5 tips, it's time to get out there and put them into practice to increase safety and reduce risk for your workers at height.
My name is Jean Wisdom, and I am a safety consultant with UA Safe State. Today, I want to share some key points related to fall prevention during the National Safety Standdown for 2021. Falls continue to be a primary cause of serious injury or fatalities in construction. These injuries are preventable, and we're going to talk about some controls that we can use to begin to reduce the number of fatalities and serious injuries in construction related to falls. This picture of anatomy of a fall just clearly represents that an employee has a false sense of security if they think that they can stop a fall from happening. They happen quickly. In 0.3 seconds, an employee travels 2 feet. In 2 seconds, an employee involved in a fall can fall as much as 64 feet. Thus, we have to focus on preventing falls so that we can prevent serious injuries and fatalities in construction related to falls. Fatalities and serious injuries are primarily caused by unprotected sides, edges, and holes in work areas, improperly constructed walking and working surfaces, improper use of ladders and lifts, failure to properly use a personal fall arrest system, and slips and trips that can be related to housekeeping, the storage of materials of construction, and cluttered work areas. Some common fall hazards you might see are employees not standing on the designated walking working surface, or they have tied off below their head, and have they calculated the additional fall distance into their fall distance so that they know that they are not going to strike a lower surface with being tied off at their feet. Have they inspected their equipment? Do we have abrasions, full thickness cuts? Red threads mean dead. Are we using improper fall protection to use as an anchor point or a tie off? We have to make sure that employees understand and look for these conditions. The hierarchy of controls, as we use it for many other things in safety, applies to fall protection. First and foremost, we want to eliminate the hazard. If we can't eliminate the hazard, we want to restrain the employee so that they can't get to the point of hazard but still do their job. If we can't eliminate or restrain, then we have to put employees in personal fall arrest systems. And then finally, there's administrative controls that we can use to reduce or eliminate injuries from falls. Elimination can involve putting covers over holes. Remember, a 1-inch opening is considered a hole. Make sure that you indicate on that piece of plywood or steel or any other material that you put down that there's a hole underneath there so someone doesn't take that piece of equipment and move it for another use, re-exposing the hole. We're seeing more uses of drones where they can inspect roofs and elevated work platforms for the hazards and the conditions before we have to put employees up there, which gives us time to prepare and make sure we have the right equipment. We can also put up barricades and fences. If you have skylights, if you have situations on roofs or elevated platforms that employees could fall through, you have to make sure that you protect the employees from those hazards. We can eliminate using guardrails. Standard guardrail has a 42-inch top rail, a mid rail, and a toe board if there's the potential for debris to fall to work areas below. Again, they can be out of metal, they can be out of cable, they can be out of wood. They just have to be sufficient and meet the criteria for standard guardrails. A personal fall restraint system allows an employee to work, but does not allow them to get to the hazard. Again, it involves a harness, a lanyard, and an anchor point. You'll see them commonly in leading edge work or where guardrail systems have to be removed or a portion of them to allow the employees to do their job. So again, we can eliminate with a fall restraint system. We can eliminate with ladder safety systems. The key here is making sure you're familiar with the new general industry standard for walking and working surfaces involving ladders. If you are building a new construction and installing fixed ladders or ladder systems, then you need to make sure that you understand cages and wells are no longer an approved safety system. They are requiring a ladder safety system. So tie those into the ladder safety that you can use on a construction site, and then permanent installations that will fall under the new walking working surface. Scissor lifts and aerial lifts are another alternative to prevent falls. Employees work within a fully contained guardrail system. On an aerial lift, they are required to wear fall protection. On scissor lifts, it's recommended by the manufacturers. It is not required by OSHA, but recommended by the manufacturers. Remember that scissor lifts fall under the scaffolding standard for construction under OSHA, but again, an alternative to eliminate a fall hazard. If we can't eliminate the hazard, then we have to look at controlling the fall. And we do that with personal fall arrest systems. There's three critical components. The anchor point, which has to be rated for 5,000 pounds for a single individual. Ideally, you want that above their head so that in the event of a fall, there is not an additional fall distance. There is a full body harness that has to be properly adjusted with the D-ring between the shoulder blades. And then there is the connecting device, which is a single leg or dual leg lanyard or a self-retracting lanyard. All of those are components of a fall arrest system. A fall arrest system, again, does not prevent a fall. It limits the maximum arresting force on the body to 1,800 pounds. It has to be rigged such that the employee cannot contact the lower level in the event of a fall. It has to bring an employee to a complete stop within 3.5 feet. It has to have sufficient strength to withstand twice the potential impact of the energy, and it must include a swing radius hazard assessment. So again, it does have an impact on the body, and then depending on the time for rescue, you have to calculate in the additional hazard of suspension trauma. So it is a option, but there is a cost to the employee in the event of a fall. When we look at fall protection, we have to make sure that, again, people are using all the elements. In this particular case, they're working safely on the ladder, they have their harness, they have the connecting device. Unfortunately, there is no anchor point, and in the event of a fall, the fall protection system that's been provided will provide no fall prevention for this employee. Training is critical. Employers must provide training to employees so that they understand the hazards of their work areas for each job that they are conducting. They need to understand the proper and safe use of a personal fall arrest system, a positioning device, or a fall restraint system, how to minimize the fall hazards in the work area that they are working in, the rescue plan, how do you initiate it, and what are the elements of it, and then the applicable OSHA standards for the particular equipment that they're using, whether it is a fall arrest system, whether it's a scissor lift, whether it's scaffolding, whether it's ladders, what are the applicable OSHA standards. And finally, the key comes down to we have to plan. We have to plan for fall protection just like we plan for any other element of the project. And we want to plan ahead of the job, not in the middle of the task. However, if something comes up, we can plan, stop, and adjust the plan for that condition. We need to provide the right equipment, and we need to train everyone to use that equipment safely. Have a safe day and have a great National Safety Stand Down. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Don Ellswick. I have the privilege of working at the University of Alabama's Safe State Institute. UA Safe State's mission is simple. Workers return home safe at the end of the day. Companies are more productive with fewer health, safety, and environmental incidents, and families live, learn, and play in a cleaner, safer, healthier environment. These are the goals of UA Safe State. Since 1978, the experts at UA Safe State have worked with many companies, municipalities, and organizations to find effective solutions to challenging environmental and occupational safety and health problems. Tom and Jean did an excellent review of the case for change and also talked about assessments, evaluation, and the hierarchy of control for fall hazards. I wanted to remind you, and I've pulled up OSHA's webpage for the safety stand down that will occur May 3rd through the 7th, 2021. They have resources, they have events, they even have a way to share what you're doing and highlight from others and really create that learning. Over the 8 years that we have done this annual fall stand down, we have reached 10 million workers nationwide. I want you to know that falls are preventable, but they remain the leading cause of fatalities in construction. With that said, in 2018 and 19, Safe State was even challenged to do more to bring these numbers down and work with companies to save lives. With that collaboration in mind, and with our commitment to your safety and the safety of all Alabama workers, we're encouraging you to participate in a virtual event highlighting the National Safety Stand Down to prevent falls in construction, and even considering small group settings with the Center for Disease Control, or CDC, guidelines, where you do have physical distancing, face coverings, and you get together and discuss some of the things that are on the website, or even pull in our video presentation. UA Safe State has uploaded videos and resources on our YouTube site that will help you conduct virtual and live events. Please join us and participate in this event. We ask for your partnership, collaboration, and also ask for you to tell us what we can help you with. Thanks again for what you do for the safety of all workers in Alabama.
Hello, I'm Matt Hullop, Director of the OSHA Consultation Program at the University of Alabama Safe State Program. On a closing note today, I'd like to encourage everyone in this audience to please reflect on the critical need for protecting others, and perhaps even rededicating ourselves to the mission of safety and health. As the coronavirus pandemic has highlighted, OSHA's mission is as important now as it has ever been in the agency's 50-year history. More than 500,000 people in this country have died from COVID-19. Essential workers, many of whom were people of color and immigrants, placed their lives on the line as a result of just going to work, trying to feed their families, and trying to help support the critical infrastructure needs of this country. Too many lives, unfortunately, were forever changed as a result of COVID-19. Today, we ask that you continue to strive to protect workers from all hazards, including fall hazards, both at work and at home. As we move forward to a new normal, we need to think about how we can improve workplace safety protections to meet the inevitable challenges that lie ahead. Please know that at University of Alabama Safe State, our consultants and our dedicated staff are available to help with your safety and health journey. Whether it's fall protection or any other type of workplace safety and health hazard, we're here to serve. And if you're a small business in the state of Alabama, the good news is our services are free. So you have everything to gain by reaching out to contact us. Please find us on the web at alabamasafestate.ua.edu or contact us toll free at 1-800-452-5928. Thank you for watching and have a great, safe day.
Preventing falls from ladders in construction. More than 4,000 workers are injured each year from falls in construction, including falls from ladders. Ladders are such a simple tool that many people forget the dangers involved when using a ladder. Ladders are rated according to their load capacity. Choose the proper ladder. Ladders used in construction include step, extension, vertical fixed, and job-built ladders. Step ladders are used mainly for tasks close to the ground. Straight or extension ladders are used to access high, tight areas where it's only possible to get 2 ladder feet on solid, level ground. Job-built ladders are custom-made of wood on site. Criteria for choosing the right ladder: appropriate for the intended use, sufficient height, meets OSHA loading and strength requirements. Never load a ladder beyond the manufacturer's rated capacity. To avoid falls, inspect the ladder for damage before every use. Inspect rails, rungs, feet, and spreaders for defects or damage. Damaged ladders should be immediately removed from service and tagged "Do Not Use." Position your ladder on a level, solid footing. Position the ladder to avoid overreaching. For extension ladders, set the base 1 foot away from the structure for every 4 feet of height. Side rails must extend 3 feet above upper landing surface. Tie off the ladder at the top with coworker holding the base. For job belt ladders, the steps must be equally spaced. No missing steps or rungs, no sharp edges or nails protruding, maintained in good condition. Use the ladder safely. Maintain 3 points of contact with the ladder. Keep your belt buckle between the ladder rails. Keep ladders free of oil, grease, and other hazards. One person on the ladder at a time, unless it is designed for multiple users. Position ladders at least 10 feet from power lines. Do not use the top step and rung of ladder unless designed for use, and never use top 3 rungs of an extension ladder. Ladders must be properly stored and not create a trip hazard. Employees must be trained by a competent person in the proper use, placement, handling, and capacity of the ladder. Is a ladder the right equipment for the job? If you are not sure, consider using scaffolding or a mechanical elevated work platform. The wider work platform and guardrails can reduce your risk of falls. Always choose the right ladder for the task you are doing. Consider scaffolding or elevated work platforms as alternatives to ladders. Contact UA Safe State if you need assistance with safety and health issues, including fall protection and ladder safety.